Hey guys, Dr. Kyle Loveless here. Hey, we're gonna shoot a quick video for you on actually some things you can do for your kids. I'm Dr. Kyle Loveless, for those you haven't met yet. I always forget to introduce this thing. Dr. Kyle Loveless, Queen City Health Center. My wife and I, Dr. Holly, have 2 clinics in the Charlotte area named Queen City Health Center. Our whole purpose and mission is to change the way people view and manage their health. And what better way to do that than to start with our kids, right? That to teach them at an early age. I know that for most patients that come in here, and this is actually what triggered me to want to shoot this video, for most patients that come in here, their habits in life had made it very difficult for them to not only be healthy, but to get healthy. Because it's hard to change our lifestyle once we've already committed to it or started to do it most of our lives. They've said that most of what we learn, I think 80% of what we learn, but how we do things in life is before we're 8 years old. So there's no better time than now for your kids to start to teach them healthy habits. Okay, so I'm gonna give you my top 5 things, and this is just something I came up with. I could have probably picked some other stuff, but these are 5 really good things you can start implementing now for your kids to make sure 15, 20, 30 years from now that they're healthy, they're happy, and they're really living life, not taking tons of medications and being sick all the time like unfortunately a lot of America is. So number 1, we got our dream concept here, right? Diet, rest, exercise, alignment, and mindset. Number 1 is gonna be diet. I'm gonna tell you this. We're gonna give you 2 things to change for your kids in your diet or make sure you never implement. Number 1 is gonna be sodas. Okay, and I mean not necessarily, there's some soda waters and there's some things like Zevia that's a little bit better, that's not gonna have tons of chemicals, but Coca-Cola, Pepsi, Mountain Dew, don't ever put that into their environment and teach them why they don't want to drink that. Teach them at an early age. We teach our daughter, she's 3 years old, we've already taught her why those things are so bad for her and why she wants to stay away from it. You know what she says? I don't want that, that hurts my belly. I don't want that for whatever reason. And she'll do something like, we'll give her a Zevia every so often, which is more of a natural soda, or just soda water. She calls it spicy water, but it's more of a natural thing. But I can tell you that that's one big, huge thing, that high fructose corn syrups, tons of chemicals in it. I mean, it's kind of funny. I just got my boat fixed, and the wiring on it was kind of rotted out in certain areas from salt water. And the mechanic told me this. He said, I had to actually take the wiring to the battery and soak it in Coca-Cola. Let me just say that again. He had to soak it in Coca-Cola to get it to break down all the things that have built up on that wiring. So soda does that to the body. So guys, take that out for your kids. Hopefully, if you've never given it to them, just don't ever give it to them, and teach them why. Don't just say you can't have it. Teaching them why is very important. Number 2, as a part of that also on diet, is gonna be fast food. And I know this is really hard because it's like, hey, I don't have time. I need to just get them something to eat. Well, hey guys, I can promise you, I can tell you this right now. I have a very busy lifestyle, and so does my wife. We have 2 kids, and I've never given them, and I haven't had fast food in 15 years, and neither is my wife, and neither were my kids, including Chick-fil-A. There's nothing healthier about Chick-fil-A than McDonald's. Zero difference, except for they're nicer people, way better whatever customer service, and I guess they have a Christian underlying. But at the end of the day, it's still killing people and hurting people because it is bad for you and it breaks down the body because there's tons of preservatives and chemicals and it's not real food. So start thinking of fast food as plastic. You don't eat plastic, you don't eat fast food. Teach your kids that in the beginning, and it's so much easier as they get older. May they change the way they do things and make decisions in their teenage years to be like their friends and hang out with their friends? Yes. However, when they get into their 20s and 30s, they're gonna shift back to their morals, the things they learned when they were younger. And at least that's what we usually see. So we got sodas and fast food. Take that out and try to stay away from that as possible. That 2 things in diet will have a huge impact on their health. All right, so that's number 1 is diet. Number 2 is rest. Okay, so get your kids to sleep. Teach them to fall asleep early, right? 10 o'clock, 11 o'clock, 12 o'clock. That's setting them up for health issues if they're going to sleep that late. They need to be in bed before 9. And I'm talking about even teenagers. Teach them that going to sleep early isn't a punishment. It's not something they have to do because you're telling them to do it. Teach them that they're doing it so that they can be strong, excited, healthy. Find out what's important to them. I know for me growing up, I wanted to be, this is kind of embarrassing, but I wanted to be like Popeye, right? I wanted to have muscles, I wanted to have all that stuff, so I would eat spinach. Unfortunately, I would eat canned spinach, and it was not actually good for me, but I didn't know that. But I would eat those things just because I thought that's what was gonna make me strong. find out what's important to your kids and start using that to get them to go to sleep early. Hey, if you go to sleep early, you're gonna have tons of energy to go play at the pool tomorrow. You're gonna have tons of energy to do this. And guys, you really don't know that sleep is probably one of the most important parts of our health, and teaching your kids to go to sleep early is essential. Not being up at 8, 9, or 10, 11, 12 o'clock at night. I've even seen kids that stay up till 1 o'clock watching TV, and they're just stressed out, and you wonder why they have ADD, ADHD, and all these other developmental issues, or even anxiety and depression. Sleep is a huge part of it. So teach your kids how important sleep is. And I didn't say tell them they have to go to sleep at a certain time. Teach them how important sleep is. E for exercise, get them moving, okay? 90% of their day should be moving, preferably outside in the sun with clean oxygen, running around, doing what kids should be doing. If your kids love video games, figure out how to get them moving throughout their day. I don't have an answer for that because I've never done that, to be honest with you. But I'm sure if you took time, you critically think, you worked with your spouse, how can we get our kids moving? How can we get them more active and still let them have video games? Maybe create what they call screen time or something like that. But movement throughout their day, teach them that activity is the key to life. Teach them that the more they move, the happier and healthier and more energized they're gonna be, and just start to help them figure out how can they get moving more. Make up games for them, things like that. The fourth one here is alignment, and that's gonna be their posture. Guys, there is an epidemic right now, and I mean that very clearly. There's an epidemic with our kids of horrible posture. Most of our kids look like this. When I take x-rays of kids' spines, because they come in now with so many pain syndromes, believe it or not, at age 10, 15, 20 years old, we take x-rays and they have no curve in their neck. They have, I've even seen 20-year-olds with disc degeneration already starting. That's a big deal. And it's happening because of, text messaging, being on phones, being on laptops, being on iPads. This is the iPad generation, and they're like this all the time. So if you can teach your kids, not necessarily saying you can't be on these technology instruments, but you can say, hey, instead of being like this, let's do this, so that you don't look like this when you get older. Sometimes with kids, you gotta get a little vain, right? So for little girls, talk about being a princess. Talk about, does a princess look like this, or is a princess like this, right? Walk into I tell little girls, hey, walk into a room like a princess would, right? When you're on your phone, remember, if you're like this all the time, you're gonna look like the old grandma, not like the princess. So we wanna get that phone up, and also teach your kids how to sleep at night. So we're just gonna put posture here, but ergonomics is a big part of that. So teach them to not sleep on their stomach, and teach them not to sleep with a lot of pillows. So if they have 2 pillows and they're a little kid and they're sleeping on their side like this, right, twisted their head, that's gonna cause neck problems. Some of one of the number one reasons I see ligament issues in people's necks is from sleeping on their stomach throughout their childhood. That's a huge one. You could literally change the trajectory of your child's life by teaching them not to sleep on your stomach. And I mean that because that will be disc degeneration, even can lead to disc surgeries. Okay? So teach them about their posture, talk them about how important their spinal health is, get them to chiropractic care. I was just talking with a patient today, and this is cool because I asked her, I said, what's the one thing that if you went back 15, 20 years from now, she's probably 35, 40 years old. So 15, 20 years ago, if you went back and there's one thing you wish you would have been taught, and you would have done more of, what would it be? You know what she said? She said, I wish I had gone to a chiropractor my whole life. And that's pretty cool. She's only been under care for about a month. So that's pretty cool. And she's been to other chiropractors in her past. But consistently going to a chiropractor, make sure that you have good spinal health, you have good nervous system flow, and that your body's handling stress really, really well. Okay? So that's number 1. That's number 4 there. Number 5 is your mindset. Teach your kids to have a good mindset. Teach them positivity, and you can't tell them to be positive. You have to be positive, and then they act like you. How many of you have, and I do this all the time too, so we're all guilty of this. We grew up in a very, I grew up in a very militant, not militant, my dad was more militant than he was like, I don't know, loving and all that kind of stuff. So I grew up I'm kind of like more of a negative environment in some areas. And I say that softly because my parents are awesome and they're very kind and they're very loving. So I don't want to put it that way. But there were some areas that just need to change. And a lot of us grew up in that environment. And so shift that for your kids. When you speak, instead of saying, today's okay, maybe I'll make it through the day, we could do better, all that stuff, talk about like, hey, this is an awesome day. It's so great to be alive. I'm so thankful for this. Let them see you being thankful, and you're going to set them up for success to see life thankful in that same level. Hey, if you're like for me, I'm a Christian. I like to read the Bible every single day, and I make sure that my daughter sees me reading that Bible, and she sees me talking to her about it, and we pray together, and we talk about every night. I say, who are you thankful for today? Who do you want to pray for today? Get them thinking about people other than themselves, and they've shown that the number one thing you can actually do for your mindset is serve other people. You get more from serving others than you actually do thinking about how your life can be better. And the final thing, and actually was talking to that same patient, she said, you know what, the other thing I would have changed is to know in my 30s that working my tail off and stressing myself out to reach certain markers in work wasn't actually the key to life. So teach your kids that it's not about reaching some marker. And hey guys, I'm wanting to teach my kids this too. So I'm coming with you with some really quality stuff, but I'm not saying I'm an expert and I do this amazingly myself. This is something we're constantly working on. But to know that you're trying is the starting point. Teach your kids that success isn't about a job status. It isn't about a number in your bank account. Success is about your ability to help the world, and your ability to be healthy, and your ability to love life, love God, love your family, all those things. And that's what a quality, successful life is. It has nothing to do with a bank account, right? Talk to them about finances and how to manage finances, because obviously that's one of the biggest reasons people are depressed, but it's also people's perception of finances, because they've shown some of the happiest people in the world are the poorest, right? If you go back and watch the documentary on Netflix I think it's called Happy actually, and they went through these poverty-stricken areas and they went through the wealthy areas, and the happiest people were actually the ones that were stuck in a hut with their family, right? And didn't have all these crazy expectations and that they weren't meeting, and trying to just strive to be the most richest person on the block kind of idea. Cool. So that's it right there, guys. So I'm going to put perception. Teach your kids how to have a good perception in life. And that's it right there, right? Diet, rest, exercise, alignment. Start to teach these individual things. Those 5 things right there, you are setting your kids up for so much success if you just took those 5 things and start to implement that into their health. All right. Hey guys, I hope you got a lot out of that. Make sure you share this. People, parents need to know how can they serve their kids, right? We live in a world where it's just like, I don't know what to do. We don't actually talk to them about their health until they're sick, fighting some sort of a virus or bacteria. Talk to them about prevention. Talk to them about this stuff and how it's going to change their life for the long run. Cool? All right, guys. Hey, if you want to connect with us, go to queencityhealthcenter.com, and we love to help and serve you. You guys have an awesome day.